The most effective disguise in organized crime history wasn't a fake passport. It was a bathrobe, and a very convincing performance. For nearly 30 years, one of the most powerful mafia bosses in America wandered the streets of New York City in pajamas, mumbling to himself, staring into space, looking completely detached from reality. His name was Vincent Gigante. And while he appeared confused in public, he was quietly running one of the most powerful crime families in the United States. And for decades, it worked. Vincent Gigante was born in 1928 in New York City. Before organized crime, he was a professional boxer in the 1940s. He even fought in Madison Square Garden. But by the 1950s, he had moved fully into organized crime, working with members of the powerful Genovese crime family. In 1957, Gigante was involved in the attempted assassination of mob boss Frank Costello. Costello survived. Gigante went to prison, but that was just the beginning. By the late 1960s, something changed. Gigante began behaving strangely in public. He wandered Greenwich Village in a bathrobe, sometimes barefoot, sometimes in slippers, often mumbling. He looked disoriented. People assumed he had suffered mental deterioration, but this timing was important. In 1970, the U.S. government passed the RICO Act, powerful racketeering laws designed to dismantle organized crime. By the late 1970s and early 1980s, mafia leaders were being arrested and sentenced to long prison terms. Gigante saw what was happening, and he leaned into the act. In 1981, Vincent Gigante became the official boss of the Genovese crime family. On paper, he was one of the most powerful crime figures in America. In public, he shuffled around in pajamas. While other mob leaders were flashy, suits, nightclubs, headlines, Gigante looked like a man who had misplaced his thoughts. Psychiatrists examined him in the 1980s. Some declared him mentally incompetent to stand trial. Court cases stalled, prosecutions delayed. The system hesitated, because you cannot prosecute someone who does not understand the charges against them. That hesitation bought him time, years of it. Behind closed doors, however, a different picture emerged. Federal wiretaps in the late 1980s and early 1990s captured associates speaking about Gigante as sharp, strategic, and fully aware. Informants testified that he held private meetings, issued clear instructions, avoided direct communication, used intermediaries to relay orders. He rarely spoke openly, but he was in control. The bathrobe was a costume, and the performance required discipline. Imagine pretending to be mentally unstable every time you leave your home for nearly 30 years. That is not improvisation. That is commitment. In 1990, Gigante was indicted on racketeering charges. Again, his defense claimed mental incompetence. Again, evaluations were ordered. Again, delays. But prosecutors had been patient. By the mid-1990s, the evidence was stronger. Recordings, witnesses, former associates cooperating. The image of the confused old man no longer aligned with the evidence of a calculated leader. In 1997, Gigante was convicted of racketeering and conspiracy. He was sentenced to prison. For years, he maintained the act, but in 2003, Vincent Gigante formally admitted in court that he had been faking mental illness to avoid prosecution. After nearly 30 years of pretending, the bathrobe disappeared, the muttering stopped, the performance ended. He died in prison in 2005. What makes this story fascinating isn't just that he deceived the public, it's the duration. From the late 1960s through the 1990s, Vincent Gigante sustained one of the longest-running performances in criminal history. He didn't flee the country. He didn't change his name. He walked openly through New York City, looking confused, while quietly running a criminal empire. And for a very long time, it worked. If you enjoy stories that sound fictional but aren't, you can subscribe. No pressure. We are fully competent.